And welcome in for another edition of Mortgage Talk with Michael Giacomino, heard each week at this time. Michael from First Centennial Mortgage addressing common concerns and questions about financing options for purchasing a home. Visit OswegoHomeLoans.com to learn more. And Michael, good morning. Welcome into the show again. How are we doing?
Good morning, Mike. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, let's dive right in as we had a good show last week focusing on pre-approval and the importance of that. We're going to kind of remind folks a little bit about that and then talk more about the mortgage process.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, to tie in of last week, we had a really good conversation and talk on the pre-approval, the importance of the pre-approval, obviously why get one, and what does it really mean at the end of the day, right, Mike?
Yeah.
We talked about how easy it is for the process, and to go through the website, either contact me directly, website OswegoHomeLoans.com, or myself directly at area code 630-746-7478. Now, today I kind of want to talk about, as Mike said earlier, the mortgage process. So what happens after you're pre-approved and you found that perfect home? Well, the mortgage process, it's not as dreaded or daunting as some are led to believe, Mike. What helps by making this process simple and straightforward is using a direct lender and a mortgage professional that has the experience. Mike, I've been in the business for over 20 years. First Centennial has been here in Aurora for over 20 years as well. First Centennial is a direct lender. What that means is everything is done in-house. We don't send your file out to be reviewed. A million people aren't looking at it, maybe in South Carolina.
Right. Nothing against South Carolina.
No. Absolutely not. Weather's way better than here.
Yeah, for sure.
We process, underwrite, and fund your mortgage right here in town. Well, let's get in the meat and potatoes of the mortgage process. Sure. And what does it look like, right? At the pre-approval stage, you submitted your W-2s, your pay stubs, and your bank statements ahead of time. That's how I pre-approved you. We review those documents together. And maybe your tax returns if you're self-employed. Well, once you have the signed sales contract, so you found that perfect home, you have the signed sales contract, well, now the process starts and the ball is rolling, Mike. My assistants, Max and Shane, they'll work with the seller's attorney to obtain title work. Little fun fact in our beautiful state of Illinois is in Illinois, the seller's attorney chooses title on all purchases.
Okay.
Once title is ordered, they will order your appraisal. Shane and Max will order your appraisal. The appraisal is the only item that is paid for out of pocket for this transaction.
Okay. That sounds good.
Your file is then submitted to the underwriter. The underwriter reviews and validates everything that I reviewed and then issues your actual loan approval. Once we have the loan approval and we provided and supplied all items needed to clear your loan up, the underwriter will issue what's called a clear to close. A clear to close is the best 3 words.
I was going to say, that's good news when you hear that.
I mean, even if you're not in the mortgage industry, a lot of people even know those 3 beautiful words. So that means we're ready to send your closing documents on over to the title company, and we're done. We're done. It really is that simple. Mike, when you work with me, you'll see that I'm a firm believer in keeping it straightforward and simple. Heck, who doesn't like simple, Mike?
I like simple. And that was a very simple and easy to follow breakdown of how that all works, because it can be an overwhelming thought to dive into purchasing a home. There's so much that the home buyer's thinking that they probably have to know or do. Mm-hmm. And that's where you guys come in. You kind of take over and do all of that stuff for them, all of the different things that have to be typed up and written and sent and gone over and studied and approved and everything else. The buyer can just kind of say, here's my info, you do the magic, and let me know when you get to that clear to close part of it.
Mike, I'll be honest, I sometimes wonder, I wonder what the data looks like of people who prefer to get a physical or a mortgage.
Or a root canal.
A root canal, right? So hopefully you choose the mortgage and you choose myself, because as Mike and I were talking, we try to make it as simple as possible here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned too, very few people are involved with it. It's not a 10-step, goes here, goes there, 20 different people are analyzing. It's just a couple of you guys in the office and maybe 1 or 2 other outside folks that have to do it for legal reasons, and there you go. So it keeps it Keeps it simple, in-house, and if the buyer has questions, they're always going to be able to come to you, and you'll have all the answers that they're going to need in this process.
Absolutely, Mike.
It's very easy to get information from Michael if you'd like. You can do it on the website, of course, as we've been talking about that, OswegoHomeLoans.com, or call direct at 630-746-7478. Michael's NMLS number 1983164, First Centennial Mortgage, Equal Housing Opportunity, NMLS 132763, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee number MB0004239. We'll see you next week again for another installment of Mortgage Talk with Michael Giacomino.